Good morning and happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there in America, as this is Sunday, May 14th, 2023. And thank you for joining me again with Danette's Kitchen. Recently, I had mentioned that I was going to start doing the gardening videos. And for those of you that have been kind of connected with me through the years, thank you for continuing to be a part of my channel. And those of you that are new, welcome, and I'm glad that you're here. In the past, I was a part of a gardening club, and I was able to do things outdoors in raised bed gardens as well as in ground level gardening, which was exciting and fun, and I was able to show videos of those things that I was doing. But the property where the gardening club was happening has been sold, so it's not accessible for me anymore. And outside of where I live, right here, the soil was tested by the U of M, and they said it's okay to grow pretty things, but not anything that you want to eat, because there's levels of arsenic in the soil, and of course that would be bad for you. It's like watching an old-time mystery movie and things happen to people where they're suddenly no longer with us. We don't want that. So I want everything that I grow to be good and edible, because we know that the price of food is continually going up, and that there's this influx where sometimes it's available in the stores and other times it's not. Sometimes it's affordable and other times it's not. How can we be most aware of what we have and our resources, and be able to afford them? Become a prepper of sorts in preparing your own food. Getting seeds. Like I previously did a video talking about these little boxed packages, which were actually $1.25 at Dollar Tree. And I haven't seen any more of these boxed packages recently, but I did grab a couple on that day, and they had a large variety of seeds. So, I do have the microgreens we're gonna work with today, and I have other seeds that I already had, and I've been working through this process for the past few years since I found out about the arsenic in the soil. And I do a lot of hydroponic gardening, but I also will do gardening with dirt. I buy a bag of potting soil, or for gardening, and I keep it here in my home because I'm in a multi-site, multi-family housing, I guess is what you would call it. I live in a condo. If you're in a condo or an apartment or a duplex or triplex or a double or whatever they may be calling it in your neighborhood, sorry about that, you can grow things too, indoors. It might be in your dining room or kitchen or whatever. It might be on a bookshelf or a table in your living room, or you might put things in a pot and stick them up in the window, which I do all of the above. And it provides a good amount of food to take me on through. Last year I was a part of that Community Cooks program, which was awesome because it was helpful to me, but it not only was a help to me, but it also helped me, feed my grandkids when they came over. It helped me help out neighbors that, were struggling too. So I wasn't just like keeping all that to myself. Share the wealth and try to be a blessing in the community. This is one of the little containers that I got for Mother's Day last year. It was a Mother's Day project that I did, and it was from Home Depot. And it had seeds in it that just sprouted cute little flowers at the time. Well, over time, those cute little flowers died, but these containers are still good. There's nothing wrong with these hardy little containers that I helped make. Home Depot University usually has these kinds of things, which is nice because if you have kids or grandkids, they can help build these things and put them together. and actively take a part in helping you with growing things. I keep the little flower pots that are in there, and I have added some of the microgreens. Took my pinky finger and just I made sure the soil was loose in both. Took my pinky finger and did 3 little dips in the soil, like as much as to cover my fingernail. That's as far as I need to go. Dropped a couple of seeds in each of those little dips, covered it up, add a little water. In 5 days, 5 days now, because I'm putting this in the windowsill, it will be ready to harvest. It will be looking like this. 5 days. And what do I do with microgreens? I eat them. I add them to my salad. Or if I'm doing some stir fry or some other thing, I can always add it to that. But definitely, I add it to a salad, and I can, toss in some carrots and other goodies. Quick, easy, and delicious. It's a very, very simple thing to do. And I have a lot of little itty bitty seeds, a lot of little seeds in this package. So yeah, that's one thing I really like about that. The microgreens are good for you. It's better we need to eat more greens. We need to eat healthier food, especially if you're trying to watch your blood sugar and your blood pressure, or if you have chronic kidney disease or whatever. It's good for you. Trust me, it really is. Another thing I wanted to do today is take this herb rocket that I have, and I'm going to put it in this. And I know this looks metal, but the pot that's inside of this is plastic, and it has the holes in the bottom, so the water doesn't just get stagnant in one place. I have a spoon. There's really no tools needed for doing this, but I like to shake it up and move that soil around a bit anyway. Soften it up a little bit. Take the herb rocket, which if I can get it out of this plastic. Whew. It's all rolled up in this green piece. I'll use part of it now and save the other part for later, because it's rolled out like you're creating a new lawn. You don't have to use the entirety of these things all at the same time. Especially these things that I get at the Dollar Tree. And yes, I am a shopper of the Dollar Tree. And lay it down on the soil. They say that the whole thing can just remain rolled up and be put in the soil. If you're planting outdoors, you want to make sure that the soil is loosened up with a spoon or a little gardening rake or shovel or whatever. Well, since they're saying roll it up, I will roll up this portion of it that I cut off. And just dig down in the soil and place it in there. And cover it with more soil. And I'll add water to that later. And it takes about 10 to 20 days for the parsley to do what it's got to do that way. I also have the AeroGarden and the Veg Box hydroponic gardening, and the Klarnstein, I believe the other one is called, which looks a lot like the Veg Box. But I have a parsley package, which is what this is. I have a parsley pot for the arrow garden. So when I start that up by this weekend, that will be growing as well. And you see things happening really quickly with Arrow Garden because it has its own lighting system where the light comes on and stays on for a certain amount of time and then it goes off. And it mimics daytime and nighttime, and it gives the right lighting and the right warmth. I mean, and you want the temperatures to be above 60 degrees when you're doing it if you had to plant outside, which is why they usually say you wait until, you know, May 15th or the day after Mother's Day to plant outside to be safe, you know. And it has to do, I don't know if with the positioning of the moon but I know it has to do with the last frost being done. And the weather's been so bizarre that when I said before I was ready to do it, it would snow the next day. It's like, really? One day 80 degrees, the next day snow. So I couldn't do it. I had to keep holding off because of that. But now I think we're well beyond that. You know, so if you want to plant in your home, if you have a bag of soil, you can get some potting soil even at the Dollar Tree. Yes. And I know someone's probably thinking, why would I get it at the Dollar Tree? Because it's still soil. You know, it's not a $20 bag of potting soil. It's going to be $1.25. Still works. Done it before. This bag I got from, I believe, Target. Either Target or hardware store or whatever. But I try to get things when their price is really affordable. And I just got one large bag. Keep it to the side. Tie it off. And use what I need to use. This season, of course, you know, I'm doing the microgreens. You know, I'm doing parsley. I'm doing the garden lettuce, the garden salad that looks kind of like, I used to say it looked like a weed years ago. That have more like the look like dandelion greens and all that. Those are really, really good and healthy and nutritious for you. I'm doing more of those things. And of course, basil and oregano, because those are regular go-tos that I do anyway. But this year, I will be doing more flower pots of healthy veggies indoors, because I will have a gardening table as well as my area with the hydroponics. And on the gardening table, I'm going to have like sweet peppers. These were at the Dollar Tree for $4. Even though everything else there is $1.25, you can still get these for $4. So yeah, you better believe I got 4 packs. And as I mentioned before, you don't need to use all the seeds at one time. Carefully peel open that back section. Take out a few. Just a few. And the seeds are pretty small. Take out a few, you know, get your soil prepared, put them in the soil, cover it up, water it a little bit, and take care of it. Don't overwater anything. You know, come back and check on your stuff just like you would check on a potted plant or whatever. Check on it. Check the soil. Is the soil still damp or moist? Then you don't want to add any water to it. If the soil is like really dry, like this, really dry, because this has been setting for quite some time, and then you loosen it up to prepare that ground. Add your seeds to it and add a little water. Right now is also a really good time to get watering cans at the Dollar Tree. And I'm not sponsored by the Dollar Tree or any of these places I'm talking about. These are just my go-to places. And, you know, once you got a watering can, you're doing good. You know, just be careful. Watch what you're getting. Make sure there are no cracks or leaks or whatever in it. But once you get it, you know, hey, you have it. And if you're doing the indoor thing like I am, you'll find it can be very helpful, because then it you know, not as You don't have to be as concerned about the weather if you're doing it indoors. You don't have to be concerned about bunny rabbits and squirrels. Unless they've made a breach and come into your home, you don't have to worry about them. You can grow mint, which I will also be growing mint, but I'm going to do that hydroponically. Either I'll do it hydroponically using just one unit only for mint, because mint, it spreads like wildfire. So once it starts growing, it will continue to grow. If I don't do it hydroponically, then I would do it in a container like this, so that the only thing in that container is the mint, because it will grow. It will grow and grow and grow, and then you can cut it, and you can use it fresh, or you can do like I do if you have a dehydrator, or if you're comfortable dehydrating in your oven, or if you have an air dryer that has an air fryer that has a dehydration setting. You could also do it that way. Dry it out, package it, put it away. You have tea for all year. You have something that can be added to various drinks, or if you're wanting to diffuse your water with like lemon and peppermint or whatever, you have more options. So that's how I spread the dollar. And with the believe me, with the mint, you only need to use a few little seeds at a time. It will grow. Guaranteed, it will grow. That never is a problem. But if it's something that you're allergic to, of course, you can't use it. But if you're not, go for it. That's what I say. And with this being like, we're kind of at that edge where we're still in spring. Summer doesn't start until around July 21st, I believe. This is the time to get those gardens going. Indoors, outdoors. I hope you're doing something for yourself, because if we're just constantly relying on being able to go to the store and hope that everything is there we want, it may not always be there. And that doesn't mean you're going to be eating steak and potatoes every day. But if we have a situation like we had a few years ago, where there was difficulty getting food brought in, a lot of things were stuck in barges out in the middle of the water, you still would have access to good, healthy food for you, your family, your community. You would still have something to work with. You could make soups with it. You can make stews with it. You can make lasagna and add in, especially if you use TVP. And I get it, some people either are unable to handle the soy protein, other people are just opposed to using it at all. That's fine, that's your choice. But, I do keep some texturized vegetable protein, because it's a workable thing that I could use to make spaghetti and lasagnas and other things, and it keeps me in a healthier state. I've lost weight, my blood pressure is better, my blood sugar is good. I'm doing better because I changed how I prepare my food and what I'm putting into my body. It's made a huge difference. Now, granted, maybe you're interested in all those things, but you're just not able to work with all those things or do those things. Then you have to have Plan B. There are lots of companies out there that provide freeze-dried food. Thrive Life provides freeze-dried food, and as I said, I'm not affiliated with any of these. But if you check on the channel Live Simple, Live Free, they are connected with Thrive Life, and Bill and Elizabeth Keller, they're awesome. I've seen all the things that they've done through the years, and I've watched them, and I've seen their testimony, and I've seen them come through the struggle of losing their home having to live in the tiny trailer on a small piece of land and having very little for resources or space. Then I've watched God work in their life, and I've watched them, expand that small home into a more comfortable place and work with the resources they had, especially that Thrive Life, and how they were able to prepare really delicious meals with the freeze dried food and everything. I would love to have a freeze dryer. I just can't afford it. But of something like Thrive Life or Emergency Essentials or the Mountain House. There's lots of different organizations that prepare the food for you, and they're willing to sell it to you in cans at a given price. You can look up that stuff on Amazon. You can look up that stuff by the names of any of those particular companies, and they'll work with you. They'll send you some stuff out. They'll give you their prices, and you can check and see what's on sale, what's not. You can even get freeze-dried butter. Butter! You can get everything. And of course, the powdered milk and all that. So there are options that are out there for people so that you're not stuck with having nothing. Now, I want to take a minute to talk about water, because water is important. It's essential. It's important for our lives and our health and our well-being. We need water. Our bodies are mostly composed of water. To grow this food, water. Water is essential. There are some places in the United States where the water is not good to drink. And it's been like this for more than 10 years. We'll just say that. More than 10 years. So there are places, there are states and cities, certain cities, where the water has been contaminated, and people are managing to get through life by purchasing bottles of water every day. Bottles of water, bottles of water. They're buying big cases of water because they can't drink what comes out of the tap. And what comes out of the tap is so undrinkable that in some cases it's brown, sludgy, full of oil. But people live where they live. What are you going to do? Get up and move everybody out of that state somewhere else? It's their homes. It's where they live. It's where they work. It's where their families are. It's where they thrive. So they still need water. But many, and this is what I've learned of as today is Sunday. I had a follow-up report on this just this past Thursday. The water is still very unsafe and unhealthy in some places, such as Michigan. Not saying all of Michigan, but there are areas in Michigan where the water has been unsafe and unhealthy for more than 10 years. How will this problem be rectified? I don't know. November of 2022, there was an incident here in Minnesota, and it was from 30 or 45 miles up the river from where I am right now. But for the past, and it was only mentioned on the news once, and they've said nothing else about it. They haven't sent any letters out to anyone. I just happened to catch that news broadcast when they mentioned about the issue and the water contamination. Like, oops, now look over here at this squirrel. So, what do we do? What I've been doing for years, in my whole preparedness mindset, I have a Berkey. And I know some people say, oh, why pay so much for the Berkey? How do we know it's going to last that long? How often will I have to change the filters? Blah, 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 blah. Does it really work? Well, it works. It does work. It does filter out a lot of stuff. And yes, it has big, gigantic filters on the inside. But You know, do we complain about having to change the filters in the fish tank? We know we want the fish to have clean water. And the fish tank would have to be cleaned out much more frequently than the Berkey. But you can clean it. It you can take out the filters and clean them and to give them a longevity. And Lead Farmer 73 talks about that on his channel. So if you want to check out his channel, he even did a video last year on how to do that and how to clean everything, and he's very good at that. He's got a big outdoor space though, so he can grow trees. He's got beautiful, beautiful trees. He and his wife do, and they've got lots of solar panels and different forms of power supply. Good channel to check out. I highly advise you to check his channel out. And he does a greenhouse lounge and that kind of stuff. You know, but for me, everything is indoors. I've got bookshelves. I've got a baker's rack that has plants on the top 2 levels and then books on the 3rd level. Health and nutrition books and whatever. But water, if you're not going to get a Berkey, look for other options that are out there. And I realize these things are real spendy. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. But what I do is when I have a need for something, I try to see if there's a scratch and dent sale somewhere. Or if I can go to a website and if they mention anything about scratch and dent, because it can be scratched or dented and still work. You know, they didn't have one, but I was able to get the Travel Berkey, which holds about 1.5 gallons of water in it. I believe it's 1.5 gallons. Yeah, holds about 1.5 gallons of water. And so I got that because it was most affordable, and yet I'm getting my needs met, you know. So then that way I can have water in the fridge, but I have that fresh water that's accessible right there. So if my grandkids are here, they know how to go and get their water clean, fresh. And living here in the spring and in the fall, if I were to drink water out the tap like I used to, there's a peculiar taste. Even before this whole environmental issue, whatever it happened with the power company that tainted the water in the last fall. Even before then, it would taste like fish. It was just peculiar. And I'm close to the Mississippi River, but it's not right outside my front door. So for the water to taste like that was just odd because I didn't grow up here. I'm a transplant from Ohio. So using this Berkey filter, it's always fresh. It always tastes good. It reminds me of the good water I had when I was in Ohio. So makes me kind of happy, and I'm comfortable and confident in being able to drink that water. And if I have to buy a new filter every year or 2, that's fine by me. Because when all this stuff happened, you know, I don't have to skip a beat because I still have water. There's other things like the Life Straw. I've done videos on that before. If you missed that or you like me to do another one talking about the Life Straw, I can do that. You know, you can get that for about between $20 and $25. They have them at local retailers like Target or Walmart, places like that. And every time you buy one of those Life Straws, money, or at least it was when I got mine, money was donated to other countries where people were struggling with water, because there are other nations even where people are struggling with water. There's Brita filters and all kinds of other things that have various levels of ability to keep water clean or purified where it's drinkable. But if you haven't thought about your water, I hope that's something that you would consider sooner rather than later. Because every day it seems like things are changing and the rug is being pulled a little bit out from under someone one way or the other. I think I've said enough for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to make some coffee and I will have a healthy kidney breakfast, which is yellow grits and scrambled egg whites. And I know scrambled egg whites may not sound spectacular, but the egg whites are the healthier part of the egg. The yolks have the cholesterol in it. I can scramble the egg whites, add some turmeric, which helps relieve any swelling in my joints, such as my knees and in my hands. I don't have that pain that I used to have. My hands are very flexible. I can go up and down flights of steps without any struggle now because that inflammation and swelling has gone down. Turmeric is helpful. You just don't want to go overboard. Just a little sprinkle. So I'll have my scrambled eggs and grits, and the grits are helpful. So I have that and my 1 cup of coffee for today. While I sit and I enjoy my rose that was given at church yesterday for Mother's Day. I hope that you have a great and wonderful day. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. If you have questions about anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. I may come back on later if people show any interest and show you how to make some street tacos. Healthy street tacos that are good for your kidneys. Kidney-friendly, healthy street tacos. How is that possible? It is possible. And I'm going to do it here. So, if you're interested, I would love to see you back on here sometime. And if you find that these videos are at least helpful to you in any way, please like them because that, boosts the algorithm and they get it out to more people. Share it with people that you know that may be interested or maybe find it helpful for them. And if you have not yet subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. Always looking forward to people asking questions or whatever. And I believe I mentioned last time I was on, but in case I didn't, my booklet is done. I could call it a book, but I made it in as affordable fashion as I could because it's just good information that I really believe people need. And it's just living with chronic kidney disease. See? Plain cover, there's nothing fancy about it, just the facts. And these aren't facts that I made up out of my head. This is information that I got from talking to nephrologists, cardiologists, general practitioners, the American Association of Kidney Patients, and the American Kidney Foundation. So these are just the plain facts that people should know to help keep their body in shape. And you might say, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need to know that. But that's what I thought too, because I wasn't told initially that I had kidney disease. I just started asking questions about my test results. What does this mean? What does that mean? And I ended up doing my own research and finding out that I did have chronic kidney disease stage 3A, and I went back to the doctors and approached them with what I had learned, and then they just said, yes, it's true. And there's 5 stages of kidney disease. Stage 1, which is you're doing very well, your kidneys are functioning well. Stage 2, your kidney function has dropped down some, but you're still in an okay level. You have to really watch what you're eating. And then in stage 3, there's 3A and 3B, where you're about 50% of your kidney function. That's where I am, and that's where I was when I found out last year, last summer in fact. And then there's stage 4, when your kidney function has dropped significantly. And then at stage 5, they are either talking about a kidney transplant, or putting you on a list, which is kind of a long shot because their kidneys aren't just rolling around every day. Or they may talk about you starting dialysis, which is an every other day, several hours in the day treatment activity, where you're either sitting in the dialysis clinic or they train you and you can have that at home. Stage 5, which is also called end-stage renal disease, because you're either going to do the dialysis, you're going to have a kidney transplant, or if you refuse to do either of those, then the third option is death, which happens, excuse me, within a couple of weeks for most people. So if you can find out early enough, you can at least take some steps to prolong your life, as long as you're willing to make the changes and do the healthy eating. It takes repetition of doing the right thing to create a habit. And I was a major foodie. I would go to all the restaurants. I would eat everything. I've tried everything except snake. I've had cow's stomach. I've had pig's feet and ears and butt and intestines. And I ate everything. And I enjoyed it. Very much so. But over time, my body has shown me the error of my ways. There are some things that are good to eat and some things that are just not really conducive for a healthy lifestyle. And we'll eat this stuff and say, I don't care, I can eat whatever I want to. Yeah, you can do that. And you know what else can happen? You can have a stroke. Or you can be like I was, having heart attack after heart attack after heart attack, not understanding why. Doctors wouldn't tell me why, because doctors are trained in one little area and they're focused on that area that they're trained in. I'd have a heart attack even while I was at the clinic visiting, doing my annual checkup with the doctor, and I start having a heart attack right there. They send me to the hospital. Eventually I'm, put on something to get my blood pressure down or whatever. And I continue the bad eating habits. I didn't change my habits. Nobody said that I needed to. I had one doctor say, you should get rid of the stressors in your life. But it's more than stress. It's what we put in our bodies. It's what we put in our mouths to help our body run. It makes a difference in the vitality that we have. It makes a difference even in our clarity of thought, the ability to have that range of motion, to be able to use my hands, to be able to go up and down, flights of stairs and not be exhausted, not be holding on and pulling myself up the stairs. It makes a huge difference. And all these changes that I've learned to make, especially in the past year, because it's been kind of increasing. I've been learning more and improving more. I lost 19 pounds. 19 pounds. And I know that's being super transparent. Maybe too much for some people. But yes. And I feel so much better. And I'm able to do so much more. So it's just something to think about. Take inventory of your life and yourself and how you're feeling, and if you're dragging along or whatever, and start taking action. And if you're interested and would like this booklet, you either put a note in the comment section and we'll connect, and I can send these out to you because I got a bunch of them. And My hope is to be able to share what I've learned with other people so that at least other people have a chance of some positivity. You know, stop kidney disease in its tracks. You don't have to go down the path that I went on. And if I would have known before, hey, I would not be at stage 3, but it is what it is, and at least I can share with you so that you can learn and move forward. And I realized 10 minutes ago I said I was going to get off of here, but that little piece was important, so I had to share that. So I'm sorry. Thank you for the new subscribers. I don't know how many years I've been on here now. 4 or 5 years? I am not even sure, but I thank you for the new subscribers, and I hope that we continue to get more. Please continue to follow me here and meet me here to talk about Danette's Kitchen, especially in the expanded version of things here. And I'm also on TikTok under the same name, so it's not going to be too hard to find me. But all those videos are really abbreviated. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I believe it is on TikTok, then I'll start doing lives over there. It will take a bit longer here. I actually have more followers on TikTok than I do here on YouTube, but I'm appreciative of people both ways. But thank you again, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.